do not want America to find out about the side effects of their horrendous vaccines, and that's why they want to put him down.
So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you very much to Lisa and her family for coming, and to everybody that came, that we got to hug a lot of necks there.
All right, we are talking today with a gentleman who's been a guest on the program before, and he will, I'm sure, be joining us numerous times. 30 years experience as an airline pilot, a degree in aeronautics. Nila Sagadevan has been at it for quite some time, and he has been showing the 9/11 in plain sight video to all kinds of professional individuals. And as you stated, you know, you're getting the same reaction that we're getting from people in military, in the private sector, whatever. People overwhelmingly come away from this video with the same reaction. That is, oh, my dear God in heaven, we've been lied to again. And this time it's a big lie. It is a really big lie. Let me ask you, you know, you've mentioned before, Nila, what your reaction was, but for those that are just joining us, we do have a lot of new stations that have come on board this week. We're thrilled to say we'll give you that information later. But let me ask you, what was your initial gut reaction when you saw this information?
Disbelief. I couldn't believe that anything other than what was told to us could possibly have occurred. As I mentioned to you, Dave, I didn't even start researching this thing till August of last year. Until then, I never questioned it. We were told what we were told, and we went about our lives saying, well, that's what it was. Until someone grabbed me by the scruff of my neck, shook me around, and said, watch this, look at this. How could it be? And then, of course, I was absolutely aghast. Everyone needs to do that. They need to, unfortunately, they need to go through that process. But I find I haven't come across anyone who's so absolutely immovably skeptical to where they won't accept what information is out there that could possibly sway them. But I'm sure there are such individuals, and, you know, there's absolutely nothing you can do about someone like that.
Well, that's true. That's true. But the only way that this is going to work is that, of course, everybody that comes into this thing understands that you have to leave your prior knowledge, your schema of the world, leave everything at the door. Leave your ego at the door, your pride at the door, and go into this just as if this had just happened, and we're going to look at this, the events of September 11th, as if this was a brand new, fresh crime scene. So, you know, leave all the preconceived notions out there, because this is the first time in history that, you know, when a law enforcement person arrives at a crime scene, the first thing they do is they cordon off the area to protect the evidence. The second thing they do is they ask people what happened. Okay, this is exactly the opposite of what happened on September 11th. The first thing that they did is start destroying the evidence. I mean, they had people out there, as you pointed out before the last break, lines of people on the front lawn of the Pentagon going around picking up all the pieces of evidence, destroying the crime scene. And number two, they didn't ask what happened. They basically got on the air and told everybody, here's what happened. And MSNBC and ABC were almost at the same time, I believe it was about 9:38, something like that, 9:39, that morning on September 11th, they both started running the identical file footage of Osama with a gun, Osama walking with a stick, Osama on a walkie-talkie, Osama with a gun, Osama with a stick, with a walkie-talkie, gun, walkie-talkie, stick, Osama, stick, a walkie-talkie, gun, 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 walkie-talkie, terrorist, over and over again.
And Dave, not once did they show the footage of Osama denying that he had anything to do with 9/11.
That's right. That's right. Let's go back to the phones. 1-800-259-9231. Nila has agreed to stay on into this next hour, and I'm so glad he did. Let's go to Megan in Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us, dear. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm just fine.
Good. Thanks for having Nila on. I find him very interesting. But I wanted to just make a quick pitch for your video that's going to be shown this Wednesday night in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really? Where's that?
It's going to be in Radnor, Pennsylvania, at the Radnor Library.
Really?
Yes. And if people want to get the directions, they can either, I don't have the phone number, but they're listed. It's the Radnor Township Library. You get directions, or they can go to mainlinemufon.com, and they'll get, there's directions from there, and it's at 6:30 on Wednesday night.
Okay, where is Radnor, Pennsylvania?
We are 18 miles west of Philadelphia.
Oh, so right outside of Philly.
Yep.
Excellent.
So anybody who's got friends who haven't seen it yet or whatever may want to come along. My husband and I will be there, and we're actually not running the meeting. There's another gal that runs this meeting, and she's shown some interesting videos in the past, but she's really excited. I got the director's cut from you because she didn't have that, so we'll show the director's cut.
Oh, wonderful. And Radnor's, again, is how far, where? What is
18 miles west of Philadelphia.
Okay, on?
It's Radnor, R-A-D-N-O-R, Radnor Library.
All right.
And
is it on Highway 22, or whereabouts is it?
It's actually like a quarter mile off of what we call Route 30, which runs from Philadelphia out to the suburbs. They can also take the train there from Philadelphia, and it's about a quarter of a mile walk. And it's a very central location. And
okay.
And also they can go to mainlinemufon.com, and there's directions on there.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, let me know how the turnout is and what the reaction is.
Yeah, we definitely will.
All right, girl. You go. Power team rules. That's the way it goes, folks. And you can, by the way, I just want to mention, for those of you that are listening that would like to get this film on in your local cable area, local cable access is putting this on all over the country. We've put together a special edit, 58 minutes and 30 seconds, which is perfect for cable access. If you'd like to get a copy of this, it's sort of like a library program. We will send it to you. You show it on cable access and then send it back. It's available on digital videotape. It's available on VHS format or on DVD format. Simply call us at 877-817-9829, and we will send it to you. And again, for those of you that have not seen, all the new listeners out there, I realize that this is a strange way to wake up on a Monday morning. You got this new radio show on in your area talking about this crazy stuff. But, folks, it's not that crazy. Once you've seen the video footage and the evidence, you'll be sitting there shaking your head, too. We've been lied to again, and this is too big of a lie to let them get away with. If you want to get a copy of 9/11 in plain sight, give us a call at 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829. Let's go to Ed in Pennsylvania. Ed, welcome to the broadcast. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. How you doing? I'm from Philadelphia, actually, and when did she say? Wednesday night in Radnor Public Library?
That's what she said.
Oh, great. Right, I know exactly where that is. There was a building that was on fire about 15 years ago. It was about maybe 40-some floors, called the Meridian Plaza. And it burned all night, and it didn't come down. So,
yeah, absolutely right.
And also, when there is an implosion, after there's an implosion, is there fires? There's no fires. I mean, there's nothing happens. It just goes out. So I don't understand how something that can smolder for 3 weeks. I don't get that.
In a molten state, bubbling metal.
Right.
You're right on all counts.
Right. Also, the media and the government, they're really doing their job, because I have Dave's DVD, and I've been passing that ever since it came out. And I would say out of a score of 100%, I would say about 95% of the people that give it back to me don't believe it. And then I'm not their friend anymore.
Well, what is it that they don't believe?
I don't get it. They think it's trick photography. They think it's a plethora of things. I mean, the
mind is a strange thing, my friend. Exactly. People only want to believe what they believe what they want to believe.
And the five different networks, they just keep pounding it in your head, and you just sit there watching this TV, which basically is a hypnotic device.
You know, I had a gentleman call me, a friend of mine actually. He was a former executive vice president of ExxonMobil. This chap has a PhD in petroleum engineering, so he's an intelligent man. But before he watched this video, he wrote this thesis telling me about bottling steel and skin temperatures causing it to melt and so forth. I responded to him with 10 points, and he took it all back, and he's a true believer now. But this just goes to show you that even intelligent people, they pull down this sheet of denial because they simply think it's impossible, or they don't want to go there. But once you grab these guys by the scruff of the neck and say, listen, why don't you explain this to me? What kind of physics are you using to explain yourself? Then they're either humiliated or compelled to agree that, their reasoning is well askew.
Yeah, I mean, it's denial is an amazing thing. I'm sorry that you're having such a hard time with folks accepting this, Ed, but oh well.
Perhaps they should watch a few of the other DVDs as well. There are about 5 really good ones out.
Joyce's favorite word for folks like that is next. We'll be back in 4 minutes. Stay with us. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Monday morning edition of the Power Hour. Coming up on 25 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in. This is Dave and Joyce, and our guest today is Nila Sagadevan, and he has been an airline pilot for 30 years, degree in aeronautics, and he, along with almost every other airline pilot that we've spoken with and shown this information, along with retired two-star general who will be joining us later on this week, General Bert Stubblebine will be joining us on Wednesday, along with Colonel George Green, who we spoke with a couple of weeks ago, a 30-year veteran in the Air Force, and his area of expertise is inspecting crash sites and identifying plane parts. All of the above agree, after seeing this footage and after viewing this and using their own cognitive skills, have come to the same conclusion. It is impossible that a plane, a 757 specifically, hit the Pentagon. It is impossible, or shall we say extremely unlikely, that the planes that hit the towers in New York City on September 11th were the planes that took off from the commercial airfields. Now, we don't know where those planes went. People say, oh, come on, if the plane didn't hit the Pentagon, where did it go? You have to answer that question. No, we don't. You do. We do. And the people that perished on September 11th are screaming for these answers. And if we continue to buy the party line that's being fed to us by the mainstream networks and the government, we're going to get all the terrorism that they have prepared for us. Anyway, at the bottom of the hour, I will be welcoming officially a bunch of radio stations that have come on board. As of today, we are blanketing the state of Florida. A bunch of radio stations coming on, so if you got folks in Florida, you can tell them to tune into the Power Hour, and I'll give you those stations at the bottom of the hour. But in the meantime, we have a full boat of calls, so let's go to California. Say good morning to Kyle. Kyle, thank you for calling. You're on the air with our guest, Nila Sagadevan. Go ahead.
Good morning. I had a question concerning if you guys could clear up a rumor that if it is standard equipment in the airliners to have remote control override available.
Okay.
Yes, I have heard this. I am currently researching this, and I think the strongest evidence in support of this came from von Bülow. I can't think of his first name. He was the former defense minister of Germany, who insisted on the last purchase of Lufthansa's last purchase of Boeing's that this system be disconnected. And I do know that the people who actually perfected the system was a company called Systems Planning Corporation, SPC. And as I mentioned earlier, this was the company run by this chap, Rabbi Dov Zakheim, who was a former comptroller of the Pentagon. And he was a number 2 man in the Department of Defense's program, which is called Rebuilding America's Defenses, which was used by PNAC, PNAC, Project for the New American Century. So these people specialized in this program, and it has been implemented, and I have very, very strong evidence that every one of these airplanes carries this. And the reason it was installed was purely for this, to thwart hijacks. Even if the airplane was hijacked while taxiing out to take off, the system is capable of taking the airplane off and flying it remotely and landing it at an Air Force base or some safe place where it can be surrounded by military personnel. So the technology actually exists. There's no question about that. I mean, there used to be a system in England called BILS, BALS, British Autoland System, and I have seen an old Trident jetliner, which looks like a Boeing 727, actually be flown remotely, automatically. Come make a perfect landing, flaps down, even apply the brakes and turn his engines off. And that was 35 years ago. So there's no doubt that the technology exists. And from what von Bülow, the German defense minister, has said, it was definitely on board every one of the 7 of the Boeings that were ordered by Lufthansa, and they were taken out.
Amazing. May I ask one more question?
Hurry.
Is there total validity to the information saying that the man having breakfast from the ISI of Pakistan was having breakfast with Porter Goss and Bob Graham, wired money to Mohammed Atta the weeks prior to 9/11? Is that confirmed?
Absolutely. Without, $100,000 US was wired by the head of ISI, and the head of ISI also was visiting the White House and the Pentagon on the day of 9/11.
Amazing. Thank you very much, sir.
Very interesting stuff indeed. Okay, let me see. We've got Brad, Richard, Carol. Let me see. The music's going to start. Well, let me see. We got 10 seconds before the music starts. So let's go ahead. And Brad will hold you right through the break. Good morning, Brad. You're on the air. Go ahead quick.
Yes. One, they started in the early 70s with all the hijackings on being able to piggyback through the transponder. But I want to ask a question about flying the autopilot, and that being with the new glass